On the Belmont, the new Belmont station that was announced. This is a little, I don't know if you guys realize where actually the station is. So currently the Belmont station goes like this. There's a Y that goes into the main line. That's like what do you call it? It's all hand-thrown switches, and you can only go 5 miles an hour because of the curve. So part of the money that the ESD has given us and the developer to rehab. To rehab the station is two-part. One is to rehab the existing infrastructure so that the whole, is everything's like 7 or 8 switches, and is to automate all those switches in there. And then north by where the Cross Island Parkway is, that's where pretty much where the new platforms are going to be. They're going to go over the Cross Island.
Oh, really?
Over the Cross Island, yes. Actually, pass it around. So what that's going to give you is this. So now on a normal belt, like so at the beginning, the other thing is that the station is going to be done in phases because of third track construction and other stuff happening in Jamaica. By opening day of the stadium, we won't have everything operational. So at the beginning, it's only going to be, we've committed to, every time there's a game, there's going to be 2 trains going in for a game, and then we'll have 2 trains leaving after a hockey game. I think about a year and a half later, once the whole new station is completed, currently there's a Y that goes into Belmont to Jamaica. There's another piece of the Y that goes like this that connects to the main line. That's also going to be rehabbed. So in theory, once everything is done, after a major event at Belmont, we're going to have trains that can go west towards Jamaica and the city and east directly from the existing Belmont proper. Up on the main line, this new station is going to be a south and northbound platform. Basically, at the beginning, it'll be just basically Hempstead trains will just make the stop if it's going to be a commuter station. But when there's events, we can just add, other trains can add the stop there. Great. So we would only be using, so as part of this new station, ESD has committed to 150 spots for these commuters that will be using this. It's going to be right alongside here. There's going to be a parking area for these people.
So that's going to be owned by railroad?
It's not going to be owned by railroad. It's going to be part of the project, but Town of Hempstead is going to be involved because obviously
so you need a town sticker. That's what I'm getting at. Obviously,
so
is it going to be open to any community that wants to use the train?
But what town?
Right now, the purpose of the station is, the reason why it's called the Elmont station is they've committed to the Elmont people to be able to use the station. So they're Town of Hempstead.
So what's going to be?
It's not worked out.
Okay, well, it's an issue that we're very concerned with because of the lack of parking already for people who want to go to events and do things. So the whole issue with parking, our issue. We want less and less town. We want more and more.
There's going to be hundreds of, there's going to be major parking there. It's just, there's going to be a certain amount of dedicated spots for these commuters that are going to use this, for these Elmont commuters or whatever the town determines. But it's not like there's not going to be parking there. These are just dedicated spots. But there's still going to be parking, so anybody else wants to go there.
So how would that be? Daily?
Nothing is worked out. It's too cool.
Well, I'm throwing out issues that
okay.
I think that we are at least going to take notes of this because we're going to follow up on this stuff because we want to know if you want to go to a game, is there a way of buying a daily parking pass? Is there going to be?
The intent is not to drive there. If you're a railroad person, you're going to take the train. You don't need to park there. If you're driving to the game, just like you go to any game, you're going to pay to park.
So this parking is for the commuters.
There's a dedicated spot segregated just for the commuters.
Going
but
to the city
anybody going to the stadium, they're going to have to pay for parking like anybody else. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of spots for.
This will be how close to the stadium?
Oh, so that was the other thing. So this is by the main line and the Cross Island. So from here,
So it's
actually
southwest. Is that where
this is north. This is northwest of the Belmont proper site.
Yeah.
So on the other side is like Queens Village. This is
So
Bell
it's
Road.
before. Okay, so it's before Japan.
So from here, they're gonna actually run a shuttle bus for the commuters that come on train, and for people that park over here. There's gonna be other parking that'll bring you down to where our current station is, which is right next to where the stadium is. So it's gonna be a in-grounds kind of electric bus shuttle that'll be circulating people around the greater development area.
Until the new station is opened.
No, even when it's open, because it's almost a mile.
That's
now.
being run by who?
It's gonna be done by the developer there.
And the bus is going to be 24/7 type of thing?
Well, it's whenever there's events.
Oh, so it's just
Well,
event-
actually, I don't know the answer to that.
Because you're saying that lot's dedicated to Town of Hempstead or Elmont residents,
No,
24.
150 spots dedicated to the commuters, but there's other parking there too.
Right.
So it's not just gonna be the commuters there, other people are gonna park
So you
there.
can't walk from the station to the.
You can walk, but it's like almost
It's
a
a
mile,
long
it's gonna be almost a mile,
It's a long walk.
even though it's right there, so that's just, they're gonna have to provide a shuttle.
If you wanna go to Belmont, just take a train there, and right?
Well, if you go to the existing station, you don't need the shuttle, but,
Right.
I mean, at some point for us, thinking long-term, once this is all up and running, the existing station, we would only use it for like a major event. It'd be cheaper for us to just have mainline
Belmont
trains or
Station.
some stop. Yeah, or anything else that's major enough.
Yeah, let's make a start.
And when is the stadium supposed to be opened up? as well?
October 2021.
And you're anticipating starting?
So remember they committed to give us $105 million to build this?
That was who? That was part of the
Be-
Islanders?
Between the
plus
state and ESD and the developer.
And the Islanders, they told me they're giving a huge amount of money.
They're working it out behind the scenes. We told them how much money we need to build this. ESD's board is voting today. Once they get the project approved and they have a contract in place, that's when the funds get released. The state is gonna advance us the
How much
funds.
do you anticipate it actually costing?
We created the estimate of $105 million, so it's
So
our
if it goes
estimate.
over, who do you go back to get more money from? What's the procedure? Is it the developer? Is it you guys are gonna come up with it, or us as the riders gonna come up with it?
I mean, right now, we're not
Who's
planning,
gonna
we're
do
not planning to go over. No, it's our project, we came up with the budget, we're gonna have to try to build it within that.
So it's gonna be design build? Because it's over 25 million, right?
Perhaps. So some of the switch work, some of the track work and switch work, that's gonna be our forces. But building the station, that could be design build, we have to work out. It could be us getting a contractor, it could be the developer, that hasn't been worked out yet.
Is it gonna be in the next capital plan, or is it gonna be an ESD project?
No, they're giving us the funding.
Okay, so it's gonna be in the next capital plan?
No,
No,
they signed a contract, like,
Separate funding.
this month, they signed a contract, like,
Right, okay.
there's separate funding in the state budget that got allocated
Got
for
it,
this.
okay.
But the MTA is paying something towards this, right?
They're giving us the money to build
The whole thing.
the whole thing. We're gonna
That was what
operate.
they told me, 90%, so that's why I was wondering where the other.
No, I think the
90% is coming
state committed to give us, the whole fund. I think the state is gonna get reimbursed with 90% of the, like, they're gonna front the stuff. The developer has given ESD some money that they're gonna give to us.
from. So when do you anticipate starting since the third track, or how's it going?
No, so right now, we're waiting for their project to be approved and a contract in place. We'll get the funding, we'll just start ordering materials, and we have to start doing the track work stuff as soon as we, it's in the next.
So you say 2020, you're gonna start, or?
No, we have to finish.
I know, that's why I keep asking when anything to start.
We would have needed the money in January to start construction now, to be able to get it done by 2021.
Right, but you didn't get that. That's
So
what
we're
I'm at.
scrambling because we need to actually get the money. But some of the stuff we can't build till later anyways, until 2021, so.
But it sounds as though there's also not a design yet.
Correct, now all we have is a concept.
You know how the vote went today?
Hmm?
You know how the vote went today?
No, it was this afternoon, I haven't heard. Yeah, ESD.
They don't have to do, since it's vacant land, they don't have to do environmental impacts and all that crap?
No, they did have a whole,
Oh, or it's all
so
been
their
done
board
already.
is
Okay.
approving the EIS, the final EIS
Okay.
today.
I heard that there might be some lawsuit pushback though. That's for them from me.
This was the big stumbling block, was the station.
Well,
For this car.
some people
Thank you,
required the
station.
station, the project probably wouldn't proceed unless there was a station. What's happening now is, there's 10 homeowners that live, you see the platforms are behind their homes. And some of this Belrose Terrace community, they're upset now because they don't want the station in their backyard. So,
All right, so the money's really coming from elsewhere.
yeah, so we're not using, it's not coming out of our capital program to build this. Not this weekend, the following weekend, we have, as part of Third Track, we're shutting down the Hempstead branch, North Tyson Avenue, so we're at the east end of Floral Park Station where the Hempstead branch splits off. They added a bay there, and there's 2 tracks for the Hempstead branch that make that curve. The first piece of this, that's gonna become the beginning of the third track, going east. So that cutover and that switch worker stuff is gonna happen that weekend. So we're gonna shut down the Hempstead branch. That we can do that. The following weekend, the weekend of the 20th.
Will we get the wording out before next week?
I believe that there's gonna be a press release tomorrow. I think, it's gonna go out tomorrow
It's
morning.
before,
It's gonna,
because it's summer, we anticipate we can have some plans for weekends, well in advance of the couple days before.
it's gonna start tomorrow.
So will when the station's closed, will you have the busing, you practically
What we're gonna be doing is from Hempstead Station, busing people to Mineola, between Hempstead and Mineola, using Mike's bus. Because the rest of those stations, most of those are in Village of Garden City, and they're very close to, Mineola, and, so they're gonna be encouraged to use back to Mineola. Or go to Hempstead and take the bus to,
encourage people to go park in the yard?
on a weekend. The following weekend, we're shutting down the main line for Covert Avenue. Just remember Urban Avenue we did it? So now Covert Avenue is gonna be the Great Crossing illumination that weekend. No, it's before, it's the weekend before.
2 weeks, and then the weekend after that?
No, in 2 weeks, it's 2 weekends in a row, before Memorial Day weekend.
So this weekend, which is the 10th,
No, nothing this
Nothing
weekend.
this
nothing, so, okay.
Next weekend, I think
Next
it's.
weekend is the
What,
Right,
Hempstead
okay,
branch
yeah.
down.
Boy, Jeff's being shut down this weekend.
Right,
They're putting a new switch with it, fixing that switch for the third weekend in a row. On a month.
Okay. Any other shutdowns coming up?
Coming back in November, September, there's gonna be work in Nassau Interlocking. We're doing some work there. And then in October, there's gonna be a bridge, I forgot which one. Nassau Boulevard Bridge, by Marijuana Avenue Station. We're gonna be doing that bridge in October.
it's all part of the, great,
Well, that one actually is, it's an existing bridge, we have to raise it and widen it for the project. So, their track it's amazing how fast the project is moving. See, every month we're closing something and it's like,
Guys, on the phone? Are you guys still there?
I put them to sleep.
Yeah,
Do you have any,
I'm still here.
before we go forward, do you have any questions on Belmont and this other track work?
No, it's just for you. No, understand.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yep.
In Penn, can you give us an idea what's happening, how the work's moving in Penn?
Yeah, you noticed
give us
it.
an idea.
so the pigeons are still hanging out.
You can't get rid of the pigeons.
So what is that whole platform thing that they're building? Is that just for safety or?
A pen? Well, here?
Yeah, let's talk
Oh.
about here. I guess that's what we're moving to.
What's gonna happen is actually they're putting a new entrance.
Right.
So, I guess they're building supports because they're gonna open it.
But so those temporary supports or are those the?
I think it's, no, because the whole thing is also
gotta
to
be.
raise.
Yeah, it's going way up, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's probably some supports. We still have to close the rest of the ticket windows.
Right.
So that's just the beginning of some of that work.
So that's all just supports and for
Yeah.
safety. And now, out of curiosity, Dwayne Reed is closing or going, what are they doing? 'Cause their shelves are bare.
They're closing.
They're closing.
Big sales.
You're telling us that all the stores.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm saying
so-
all of them.
This
Yep.
So when is that gonna start? Because that's the real
it's supposed to happen, those stores are supposed to be leaving this month so that the next month is start moving. Because then, this,
Again, can we let riders know that your pizza place is not gonna be there on the way home as of a certain date, so that they can anticipate bringing food and getting food? Because you just won't come one day and then everything's gone.
It's gonna be the
That's
blue
worst
wall of,
thing.
Yeah.
I think signs telling people in
Every way you
advance
can.
too.
There should be alerts,
Yeah.
there should be signs, there should be announcements at Penn Station.
please be aware that all the stores on this side are going bye-bye effective.
You know, really get to think about, because people plan on
Popcorn?
doing something on the way.
because this corridor here, the whole, is to raise everything, also to widen it.
Right.
So at the end, all those stores, I think they're losing like up to 20 feet or something, because then
Yeah, it was
And then
18 feet, I think it was, but are they getting pushed back?
they have to basically they're pushing them back, all the stores. So whenever the stores come back, they're gonna just be pushed back and small.
Who's paying for all that, for like the stores to move? Do the stores have to pay for that themselves, or is that part of the realtors? Realty company?
I mean,
It was in their
it's
contract.
part of
Yeah,
it. Part
yeah,
of
I'm
it.
just kinda curious.
I think it was in the leases.
I mean, the vendor would just terminating their leases, and then we're doing the construction project, and then we advertise, whoever wants to move into the open space.
But the ones on the other side, which you want to stay open or not?
Some of those are, I know when we close the ticket office, some of the ticket windows are gonna move to this side. On the other
Tracks,
side.
we know is closing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which McDonald's is staying open though, Eric?
No, McDonald's.
No,
is closed.
no.
Well, that's the last time they said it was staying open.
I don't know the
That's the
latest.
last time. It was
Well,
on
they
the
said
side.
that everything on this side,
That's not on this side, that's
yeah.
directly ahead. So that's what I'm asking. That's what I said last time.
I don't know about McDonald's.
If
Yeah,
they're
last
closing,
time
if they're
it was
closing
closed.
Dwayne Reed and Tracks, how would McDonald's stay?
This last time we meeting 2 months ago,
Uh-huh.
I said that. They said 2 months ago, we asked if that was not going to be closing. That's why I'm asking now. So, and those leases are then will be done. And you said they have to go into new leases to come open, or their leases just continue when it reopens?
No, we're terminating their leases.
Completely.
Yeah. And then once we finish the spaces, then we're gonna have to re-advertise. Or Bernardo, whoever's doing it, they can.
We're down with this before.
I did hear that Trax is bidding on a space. I heard that Trax is bidding on a space, or bid on a space at Grand Central.
Really?
I think was it the Michael Jordan Flea or something?
Yeah, they're gonna do a pop-up shop in the,
Or something.
They,
in the,
right,
There's a space there that I think they're bidding
Yeah.
on, so they may relocate Trax to there. That's what I heard.
I think they did that spot,
Yeah.
but.
Maybe it's
that's
another
not
spot.
it. No, it's good.
you
So
got the
are you
oyster.
gonna have any kiosks or anything come in, or anything in the meantime?
It's gonna be a construction zone.
I don't know, but a lot of other zones have, still have food, and those guys that come in and work.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, just, I'm not just gonna have any options, if they all get stuff outside, you need to let them know this. It's just like, just these stores are closing, if you're gonna say everything is, there will be no food options, or look for time for instructions, whatever you have. Let them, people know,
Oh, yeah.
clear words, clear language, what's gonna be happening.
we're gonna be hungry.
Hand out flyers, signs.
There will be no popcorn.
But, but another big question though, we losing any stairways temporarily? Because I mean, if you're getting rid of Tracks and you might be getting rid of McDonald's, right between Tracks and McDonald's, all the stairs like the track 18, 19,
I don't
also
think-
a part of the
I don't
17.
think that stays through all the stages.
So they'll just,
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah,
they'll just
I've
build the
seen it.
temporary walls, we'll do the rat maze thing like we did on the 1, 2, 3.
So, yeah,
Okay.
those stay. The main problem is gonna be this 9-foot ceiling, but
Well, are they gonna be redone, the stairs? We talked about that. They're gonna be redone, or stuff where they are?
the ones down to the track?
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge, I don't think that's part of
We
it.
talked about when going to the tour, that's the question I asked you, the stairs, going up and down, we're gonna do as part of the elimination, but done.
I wasn't.
I don't think that's part of this
So,
scope.
you know,
It might be part of the 33rd Street scope, certainly not part of this escalator, stairs, first part. Maybe it's part of the, actually, no, I don't think they have full designs for the 33rd Street corridor.
I mean, okay,
So it might still be in the air.
Are any of the stairways being redone in Penn Station inside? Not up there, not the escalators, I mean, just here, going down to the platforms.
I don't know if that's in scope, and I haven't seen a design doc, which makes me think that it doesn't exist yet. So it could be,
Who would know? That's not, who is
The
that?
guys that came the last time to speak.
Who is that?
What's his name?
From,
George Earhart?
no, John.
John Harlan.
Oh yeah, John
Steve.
Window.
Well, I thought all the staircases were getting repaired,
That's what I
as
asked.
as they get, because as they put all the glass up and all that stuff.
Can you ask that question again for me?
No, that's
I
right.
thought, I asked it, I remember last time, I thought they said yes, but, things changed, so they didn't get.
Yeah, 'cause I thought they said all of them were, as they put the glass up and.
It might seem like a minor issue, but track 2021, the last stair is not the standard height. And a
Yeah.
lot of people
I know what you're
miss
talking
that.
about.
Yeah,
Nice
right.
big-
you
that big
don't-
step.
Yeah, it's like a big step, so I mean, if you're working down there, that's something that definitely needs to be
need
resurfaced so
to
that
be.
it becomes the standard height.
We have a handful. There's some work.
Oh, okay.
Do you mind if I talk about that stuff?
Actually, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
So I have a few things that I'm working on. We've done a lot of stuff around signage, some of which was rolled out and some of which will be rolled out. I can show you some of the new designs. I will say, for example, this. So this, do you recognize this?
Yeah.
If you're in the exit or entrance, exit or central concourse.
They're showing the, Central and Concourse signs.
That is, I don't know if you remember what the old one was, but it had much taller. We got some feedback that people wanted large fonts for the track. So you can
Yeah.
actually see this from pretty far. And if you're from pretty far, anyway, so, you know, we redesigned all this to make it clearer and easier to read. We don't, for example, put service notice. We used to use a third of the screen for service notices, which nobody reads anyway. But they might read if there's an alert, but they're certainly not going to read the standard stuff, you know, make sure you use ETIN. So, you know, we use more of the screen. We make the important information bigger. We actually do this thing where if you're standing, if you use the exit or the central concourse, and during rush hour, there are a lot of people there, you won't be able to see most of the screen. So when a new track, like you just saw, when a new train posts, we pop it up to the top of the screen so you can kind of see over people's heads and you can see your screen, your track number.
So it won't be by time, it'll be by,
It is by time, except in that instance.
and then does it go back down when there's a new
And then it
one?
goes back down. But this has been in place for 6 months, so this is an example of something we've done. I want to show you some stuff we're doing that hasn't rolled out. We also,
An announcement or a message that says, please don't block the screen when you.
Yeah, that's
I
the
know,
best
I
thing.
know.
That would be
We-
the absolute best thing in the world.
we thought about, except it's hard. I mean,
Yes, oh,
You
definitely,
know.
yeah.
we have, you know, I do want one thing I forgot to pull up, but we have our standard. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it from. Oh, okay. Like this is a test, but this site, which is, you know, when there's an alert on a. So we redesigned this, and one thing that's actually really nice about this is when there's an alert, there will be some notion on the right that will say 3 minutes ago. So, you know, we'll say, okay, track issue, you know, on the Babylon branch, and you'll know that this was posted 3 minutes ago.
Now, where's this? Is this just on a
Yeah.
computer, or is this on?
No, this is up on our screens.
On the screen.
Next to, so this would be, I mean, anywhere we have service notice information, and this information will show up on the first screen that I showed you when there's an alert.
It's a silly question.
Yes.
I'm sure, because especially you're doing
Yeah.
the big board that used to be
Yeah.
up there. I guess that's gone forever, right? It won't be put back up in any shape or form, because that was.
Oh, you mean the alpha board where you can see all the stations?
Yeah.
So we actually have a new design for that would go on screens. We're trying to negotiate a place to put that, but that we're thinking about how to do that properly. I think my question for people who use that is, do you use that to find which? I mean, how does a commuter use that?
If
For
I'm
example?
going to Jamaica,
Yeah.
I don't always branch which trains are going, I get into
Sure,
Jamaica, I
sure.
look at, and I see whatever the
I
next
see, I
trains
see, I
are
see,
for
I
a
see.
person, so it's, a place like branch, it could be
Sure.
like station, you know.
What we may do is take that information and put it in a separate screen and roll it out throughout. Because right now that's the only place you can get that information. You have to be in the main gate area. But, you know, we'd like it to be in the West End Concourse and everywhere. So it might be more of a digital display that paginates, so maybe 5 pages.
They used to have, what they had the old Solari board, so it would list all the stations on that line.
Interesting.
Who's next call?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would list, you know, the whole.
Sure.
All the stops.
So we're thinking about what to do there. But currently, actually, the plans don't call for screens to go back up there, so we need to negotiate that they do something with that space. So some of the other screens that we're looking at, these screens on the platform are going away. They're being replaced. These are about 18 years old. They're being replaced with new screens that are all. It's not that they're a different form factor. They're kind of one big LCD, and I'll show you what they'll look like.
And they'll be placed
In the
throughout,
same place.
Not just front and end, but middle too.
Yes, but in Penn, I think we have a pretty good distribution. In Jamaica, we don't. And I can talk about that. Same thing.
Some of the platforms you don't. Even the new ones. The new ones,
Yeah.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. The new ones that have gone up.
No, I know.
Seem to be less than they were before, and they're spaced all the way at the end, and nothing in the middle set up, so we don't wanna
For some
lose-
reason, we have 3 of those signs at the end of 2021. I don't know, but you're right. Same thing. These are being replaced in Jamaica. So I'll show you. We have some new designs, which dovetails with some other work we're doing that I'll show you. But it'll basically look like this. So this will identify the train, it will identify the stops, and the other thing that we're doing is on the M7 fleet we're gonna have real-time loading information, so you'll know where the seats are available based on who's in the car right now or not. That's mostly important for people who are on outline stations as opposed to Penn. But even in Penn, as it fills up in different cars, you'll know where the cars right now.
So those, that represents the cars. So that
M7s
the green,
and M9s.
The green there means that there's seats available in that car.
How are you measuring that?
So for the M7s, we're doing a retrofit that we initiated about a little over a year ago. There are actually these airbags in the train that are used. They're
You mean,
like suspension.
yeah, they
Yeah.
level the.
Exactly. Those airbags, they have a pressure sensor on them. And so we already had all the sensors in all the cars, just so we didn't relay that information in real time. So now we got it to relay through the track, through the wayside,
So it's looking for overall weight of the car?
yeah, and then you kind of back that out into, one of three categories, lots of passengers.
So last time you said that was something for the future. We're
Yes.
close to the future now?
We're getting closer.
We're going back to the
We are
future.
getting closer.
Those
That actually
bags
works.
is what levels the train on the platform.
Yeah,
That actually works to measure?
I haven't gotten the data yet, but I'm hoping it does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the math in my
Sure.
head, and it's just like,
Well-
okay, I mean, I obviously weigh more than, it's just.
Sure.
Well,
No.
use an average,
Yeah, I know.
The
Just
other
200
thing
pound
is
man,
you only
150 pound
need
woman,
three categories, kind of red, yellow, green. It definitely works. There's, there are about 12 gradations from nobody in the car to packed, standing room only,
Mhm.
or not even, crush load.
As
Yeah.
the critics that we always
Yeah.
are. That's why you come here, right? The
Yeah.
Critics.
Yeah,
We always talk about not rushing into rolling this out there.
Sure.
You're absolutely sure, because the
Sure.
last thing you want to do is tell people to go to that car,
Sure.
and it's full, and then you get angry.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
They told me to go there.
Sure.
So just to really don't rush it out to be,
Sure.
really make
I
sure
think
you're
that's a
ready,
good-
'cause the last thing
that's a
you
good
don't
point.
want to be more angry than.
The other thing is that people are creatures of habit. If they park
Yeah.
their cars in the front, they're
Yeah.
gonna go to the front and
Oh, yeah.
complain.
It's
It's
only
just-
information.
it's just
the
Yeah,
way
how
it
they use
is.
How they use it.
yeah, exactly. In fact, I think that works well because the people who want new information, they want to
No,
figure out
information is
they
great
can
to
use
have.
it, and if they don't want it, they don't have to
You've
have it.
got conductors now that'll
Yeah.
say the last 4 cars are empty. Walk
Yes.
down. Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Because if they want to be in the first car,
You're
they
right.
can stay in the first car. Don't
Conductors
stay
have said that
Yeah.
that people don't. In some cases, people don't trust them. Also,
in- Well, it's not even that. But
a combination.
I mean, I go to Deer Park. I want to be in the
Sure,
first car because
sure.
that's where I get off.
So in
I don't care about the last
Yeah,
car.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
actually, Will, you said something that I don't know if people saw
Yeah.
in the M9s. I saw one yesterday. On the outside screens, outside the door, outside the cars, it tells you car 1 of 12, 2 of 12.
That's great. We've been asking, yeah,
So
that'd be,
that's going to be in the new M9.
You
Well,
know what?
that's-
You know what they're doing now in the M7s? They're putting the car numbers.
So that's another initiative we kicked off. That's absolutely
This
right.
is the process of being
Yep.
done. They're not hidden at the end.
Yep. I'm glad you
Most-
noticed that. I'm
most-
glad you noticed that.
Most railroads, when they don't say sit in the last 3
Yeah.
cars. They say if you're in
Yeah.
car number 76
Yeah, that-
or whatever.
Something
And I
that was
don't think-
quietly added. Say that again.
Yeah. So we I don't know if you noticed, but on the M7s we are making the car numbers much more prominent. They're actually by the ASIs, which are the screens that say the
The next station.
LED screens. So so
They're also
hopefully-
black instead of white.
Exactly. So they're pretty. When at any place in the car, you should know what the car number is if you're looking in any direction, really. And hopefully, we can get conductors to say, move out of car 7. Last 2 cars need to walk forward. They don't say the car numbers right now, and even if they did say the car
The average
numbers,
person don't know where they are.
they don't. Nobody knows where the car. The car numbers are on the end. You almost have to be in those vestibule areas
Yeah.
to see them. But now we've made them much more prominent, so that the conductors, if they say it, and we're going to ask them to say it,
This may be too hard, but
yeah,
you're going to have screens in the accounts. Right?
yeah,
Anyway, that can say this car will not open at so-and-so,
you're talking about the M9s or the M7s.
whatever you
one.
could do.
So for the M9s, with the M9s it probably won't, but for the M7s we're replacing all the advertisements with new screens.
Digital screens.
Digital screens. So you know how,
Because one of the recommendations we made for the M9 was to say this car will not be open, the next stop is so-and-so,
Yeah, yeah.
this car will not be
Yeah.
opening in that street, and that was not done, but we had asked.
I see.
For a recommendation, so say, what can we do to accomplish?
I think, I don't actually think it'll be a huge issue on M9s because it'll say car 10 of 12, and they'll say if you are in cars 11 or 12, walk forward. But on the M7s, we're going to try and use the new digital ad screens to say the same information. Because again, M7s represent 90%. I mean, they represent 95% of the MU fleet right now. Maybe they'll be 90% of the MU fleet, the next couple of years. So if you, it's very important for us to roll stuff out.
The M9s you're getting now are replacing the M3s.
That's
The
true.
next
True.
group will be
You're right.
new.
You're right.
For east
So you're
side
right. So it's
access.
still going to be 95%. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
so,
a
but when
huge
you open
portion.
the east side access, that extra 100 cars is
Sure.
74 is going to
That will
change.
be.
But this is something
Yes.
you need to consider for the diesel.
Yes.
Diesel as well, because like on the Montauk branch, it constantly changes. Everything opens in Bayshore. First 4
Yeah.
cars in Ice
Yeah.
and Oakdale Great River. Then
Yeah.
you go back to 6 cars
Sure.
in Sable and Patchogue.
Sure.
Then it's the first car when you get to Bellport.
Sure.
And the last 4 cars when you get to Mastic
Sure.
Shirley. So it's like critical on the Montauk branch.
Sure. So we have a separate, it's not as far along, but we have a separate project to get that loading information. And to as the countdown clocks on the platforms, the LED displays, as those come in fact, I'll show you what that looks like. We're going to do the same thing where we're going to show you, I actually think this is more important on those stations. I should have changed the text to reflect an actual train, but this basically shows you where you are standing, where the signs on the platform are positioned, and where the train is going to come in. So, in this case, you're going to be next to a car that doesn't have many seats in it. But if you were by one of the signs where it's not going to, it's not going to be next to the train that's platforming. So again, we want to make customers aware of where to stand before the train pulls in, especially if the platform's large and the train is small.
Here's my question.
Yes.
From my station, I usually get on the back of the train.
Yeah.
I had to go to the front of the train, I was going to a different location.
Yeah.
With a bunch of people, we went to the end of the platform.
Yeah.
When the train came in, it was
Yeah. Yep.
a third.
Yep.
Not even went to.
Yep.
How do we let people know that this train's going to stop on the
That's
platform?
That's what this is showing.
That's what this
That's
diagram. That's
This-
this
If you
diagram.
look at the bottom, that's the platform. The little man is where you're standing, right?
That's what?
So this is the platform. This is you.
Right.
See these things? That represents the signs on the platform. So there's 3 sets of ABS.
ABPS.
And then this is the train that's going to be coming and what seats are available. So now before the train comes in, you'll be able to see that. And now you know